What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of TopLeft Sports Show. We got a special guest with us tonight. Mr. Rhino himself is joining in as we recap the last week in softball in the Northwest and kind of look to the future and talk some conference and all that. So, yeah, without further ado, Rhino.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Doing great, man. I'm just living the dream, living the life.
Yeah.
You know?
I hear you, man. So softball's kind of getting started back up here in Washington, Oregon, stuff like that. Some of the guys like yourself and, a couple of the teams around the Northwest did a little bit of traveling here lately, but for us who don't travel as much, this was the first big event in Washington or Oregon and stuff in a year, if not longer. First off, what's it like for you to be able to travel and meet the people that you meet and do the things you do with softball?
It's kind of surreal if you really think about it in a sense, because I am a fan of softball and I still am very much so a fan myself. And so getting into see a high competition and like the bigger names in the game and know them on a personal level, there's sometimes where I'm just like, holy cow, I remember a few months back not knowing this person and just watching this person play and being in awe, and then come to realization like they're normal people. You know what I mean? Like we think they're robots and and get to play for free or whatever and get to see the world or the US playing softball, but I mean they're normal people like you and I think that's the coolest thing is they're all really cool with an exception of a hand full of people, but man, I've enjoyed it and had a great time, and luckily, people like USSSA allow me to do it, and I've been pretty much welcomed everywhere I've gone. So, it wouldn't have been able to happen unless A, USSSA let me do it, and then B, people support me. People don't really have to tune into my nonsense and talking, but people kind of take a liking to it, and I just roll with it, man. So that's pretty much how it's been now. And I went to the Trip Raw tournament in Louisiana. I've never been in Louisiana. I was a United States Marine for, I'm always a Marine, right? But for 10 years, and I'd never been out of Texas until I joined the Marine Corps. Well, it's crazy because softball took me to Tennessee for the Smoky last year and Louisiana for the Trip Roth. So it's cool things like that.
The Smoky, that definitely seems like a tournament that should be on every big softball enthusiast checklist to at least just try and go to.
Dude, it's something different, man. I feel like, I don't know about you, but for me, growing up in Texas, when we played softball at the age of 16, it was more like we went to the park because our dads were hanging out, in the parking lot drinking beer, playing beer league recreational softball. And so I think what happens is every softball player will tell you they kind of start off at that route.
Yeah.
And then they just happen to be really good. And then people ask them to play competitive. And then next thing you know, they're playing for, they're getting paychecks on the weekend. But what I mean by the, drinking in the parking lot is the Smoky has that parking lot drinking feel, if you should call it. It's not a big city at all, Maryville. And so the cool thing about it being not a big city is the players have nowhere to go. So they stay there at the field and it's not like Vieira where, people go and it's one of the meccas of softball right now, but you don't really see the teams hanging out in the stands or in the bleachers because A, they're tired, and B, they might have to go play on a different field. But in the Smoky, there's only 2 fields. So if you're playing on this field and you're not playing on this field, you're waiting. And so it's so cool. You have like Resmondo and Dan Smith at the time and Bay Area sitting on the hill watching the games.
Yeah.
So it's that small town atmosphere, really.
I feel like that'd almost be like nerve-wracking if you're kind of like a B team or something like that comes into it or something, and you're like look up and all of Resmondo's sitting there watching.
Yeah,
or something. You're like,
I think it'd be nerve-wracking for like like the E and D, maybe some C guys, but those B guy and A guys, I guarantee they like it, because who knows, maybe
that's
one of the coaches just happens to be looking over there and might holler at him next weekend, or might make a play at your contract or something like that,
Yeah, I hear you. So yeah, obviously, your introduction to softball is a little bit different than mine. So, as most of the softball players, I grew up playing baseball and then kind of stopped in high school. But then I joined the Army, and my unit developed a team, and they're like, "Do you want to play?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. What's the worst that's gonna happen?" Got super into it up there. Was like the only guy that was like diehard softball in all of Alaska. And then came down here.
I didn't even know you were stationed in Alaska. That's wild.
Yeah, up in Fairbanks. And then came down here and hit up a couple buddies and played E and stuff like that, and just kind of got into it, and met some really cool people, including yourself, and just kind of trying to explore it a little bit more and stuff like that. So
I mean, that's kind of similar to the way I kind of started. I mean, granted, I played softball when I was 16 and 17 back home, but that was just something to do because our dads were already out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But me, like yourself, I joined the military. I was young and dumb, 21 years old, not caring about anything in the world other than drinking and partying and working. And one day, I went to this. It's like an exercise event in Yuma, Arizona, and I had nowhere to be. I wasn't allowed to drive there. I was only I was an E2, a PFC, and there's some guys playing softball. I played 1 year in college. For the most part, I got redshirted. Bad experience, but long story short, if not for baseball, I probably wouldn't have gone back to school. But let's just say after baseball season was over, I had like 5 I's for incomplete in college. So anyways, no, in the Marine Corps, I was at MCAS Yuma, and there's some guys playing softball in the field, and it looked like it was kind of organized, and they're like practicing, but it looked like a tryout.
Yeah.
And I had nothing better to do, man. And I was only there in Yuma for a week, and I sat in the bleachers and I just watched. There wasn't a big social media, Facebook wasn't as big yet.
Yeah.
I think MySpace was popping at that time. And and I sat in the bleachers, and some guy came up to me. Was like, "Hey man, hey young man, you stationed here?" And I said, "Yeah," because I'm hoping he asked me to play. I wasn't stationed. And I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "This is the all Yuma Marine Corps tryouts." And so a lot of people don't know, but there is softball in the military, and you actually represent your base. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, I didn't have a belly like I do now. You know what I mean? I was a fighting machine, dog. So I was able to hit hard and throw far and glove it and run fast, believe it or not. Do you think the fat unicorn can get triples and doubles now? You should have seen me back then. But I tried out. I was like, yeah. So I used a glove. I messaged my mom the very next day, say, "Mom, can you next day my Nocona from college or high school?" And she did, and I tried out and ended up playing shortstop for MCAS Yuma that year. And a lot of people don't know, but we play other bases. Well, I kept hearing, man, Miramar, where I was stationed at, was like, "Oh, they're a powerhouse. Like, they're the best West Coast Marine Corps team, period." And I'm like, yeah. Like, we'll see what's up. And little by little, we're getting to that. It was like February 2009. And I kind of tell some of my teammates, like, "Yo, I'm not even stationed here. I live in Miramar." Like, "Oh, bro, you're not going to be able to make the Miramar team. They're stacked, and they're good." And And sure enough, man, we played in Yuma, and here they come. They all had Easton everything. They were Easton out, Easton roller bags. I didn't even know how serious this was, man. We had like, it's like freaking like Big Five Sporting Goods, and they look good. And sure enough, dude, I killed it against them. Like, I was like 4 for 4. And about to bat my 5th time, and apparently Yuma was like the shittiest Marine Corps West Coast team, and so I come up to bat, and it's like 13-11, late in the innings, and they called time, and I told the catcher, I said, "Yo, man, y'all Miramar, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "I ain't even stationed in Yuma." And he goes, "What? Where you stationed at?" And I go, "Miramar." He goes, "Bro, I'm gonna get your info after this." And, we'll see what happens. I hit a triple in the gap. Next thing you know, 3 guys, the coaches from Miramar, come and approach me and say, "Hey, we hear you're in Miramar." I said, "Yeah, I'm only here for WTI." And the rest was history, man. I played from Miramar from 2009 to 2013.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, we played a lot. We played Hawaii. We played everybody.
Yeah.
I deployed a lot. And so I went on jets constantly. I was the F-18 squadron, so that was my introduction to softball, man. Like, in the military, if not for the military, I don't think I would really be into softball as in deep as I am now, honestly.
Yeah. So, kind of the same path, just obviously you're down playing in wonderful Texas, and I was up in the rain and cold in Alaska.
Yeah, well, I mean, odd story is I was in Colorado as a recruiter, and that's where I really started. I mean, I played like my last year and a half to 2 years in San Diego, 13 and 14. Got on a team. That's when I found out there's tags. I didn't even know what an E-tag or D-tag. I got protested at a tournament. They asked me my date of birth. They asked me for my license, and luckily enough, they allowed 3 D-tags at this tournament, and I was the 3rd, and I didn't even know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
But the team for Miramar, we were a D team, I guess. And when I moved to Colorado, I played on the E team as a D tag, and we won state. I got into it pretty heavy there, and that's when I started doing the rep stuff. And dude, it kind of just blew up, and that's where we've been from now, man. It's wild, honestly. It's like I said, it's surreal.
Yeah, I remember like when I first got into softball up there. There's one team up there. They're called like the Grizz or something, and they, like you kind of said, we all just walked up with like bats in our hands and gloves in our hands, like we were just there to kind of drink beer and play. And they're fully sponsored. First time I ever seen like full sub jerseys, and I'm like, what are these guys? They're like, oh, these guys are the best team in Alaska. But I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And it's all ASA up there, and one of the dudes up there was hooking me up with bats and stuff, and he was like, yeah, when you go down south, you need to try this thing called U-Trip. And I was like, what? U-Trip? What's that? He's like, oh, they can pump fake and all this and that. I'm like, cool, sounds good, let's do it. But they were like, I guess technically a B team up there or something.
ASA?
No, U-Trip. They were a B team. And I get down here and start watching the B teams, and I was just like, started laughing. I was like, how?
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, it's probably just because of the differences, but I don't know.
It's kind of like the exact opposite of. I mean, we're the same growing into from the military, but I never have played an inning of ASA.
Oh, really?
So I've been strictly U-Trip. That's all I've known. That's all I've been around. So pump faking was the first thing I saw as a pitcher or as pitching. So, I mean, that's all I've known. And then Texas, I got out of the Marine Corps. I went home to Texas for a couple of months, and my wife was in boot camp, or basic for the Navy. Yeah. And then we got out here to Washington and still U-Trip. So, I mean, I just didn't want to go to Virginia. I heard Virginia is ASA galore, and I had no interest in playing ASA. So, and then nothing against ASA, I don't know. I had like 8 bats, and they're all U-Trip bats, and then
that's how I was when I came down here. I was so dumb to softball. I didn't even know there was like a difference. I had never seen U-Trip before, nothing. And I walk up to Mike Post at the time, was a coach of my team. I was like, hey, can I use this bat? First time at a U-Trip tournament. He just laughed at me. He was like, yeah, no. And I was like, oh, you got a bat I can use in or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's so many. I mean, it's not really that crazy now that, I know how it works, but I didn't do anything, man. I bought my very first bat Oh, it's in the garage because I used it for BP Steel. My very first bat I ever bought, man, back in 2010. It was a Jeff Hall 454 Worth. It's purple. It's a black barrel with like purple flames, and it says 454. And I bought it off of my coach, Armando Delcy, for $165, brand new in the wrapper, because he owned East Coast Sports or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's more like sentimental value. I've slung 100 bats, but I will never get rid of that one because it's the very first one I've had, and it's still able to swing in a tournament now. So yeah.
Sweet, man. Well, there's a little bit of background of Rhino for anyone who wanted it. I've known you for a year and a half, 2 years now, and I think that's the first time we've ever talked about how you actually got into the whole game. So that's kind of cool to see. But yeah, let's get into some review of this last weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
First off, obviously, I want to give you and your girls a shout for your DE women's team winning the tournament down there. The Smash It Sports Lady Rhino Nation.
Kim Iverson, yeah, she's Kim. I knew she was a go-getter, and not to puff her up, as far as saying she's an awesome person, but she really has gone above and beyond for this team. And the crazy thing is, she's not even playing because she's a C tag, so technically she can't even play. Yeah. But that just goes to show how much she's invested into this team, because she's like really, really pushing and advocating for this team. And dude, she's done a lot, man. She's got a sponsorship. She got the Smash It Sports Bachman sponsorship, so that's how you see that in front of our name. And she just approached me and said, "Hey, can we use Rhino Nation?" And I was like, "Of course," but I didn't want just Rhino Nation because everybody knows, not everybody, but it's like Rhino Nation. And I was like, "Man, let's change it up. How about Lady Rhino Nation?" Yeah. And so, yeah, Kim Iverson, man, big shout out to Kim Iverson, because, like I said, she's a go-getter, but she's really doing a lot. Getting the girls that she got. I watched the championship game. Of course, I was playing, so I didn't get to see a lot of schedule conflicts and stuff like that. But, wow, like, this one new girl hit it over the fence. I mean, I'm just like, what? So a shortstop is a girl I never heard of or seen named Angie. She was a baller. Like, I'm like, where do you get these girls at? Yeah. Of course, some OG, what I call Bremerton girls, some of the first girls I ever met when I came out here. Lauren Powers, Leilani Camacho, Mel. They're all from my area, so I've known them for a while, but they just, came together and made this rock star female team, dude.
Yeah, that's cool to see, especially probably, from your perspective. It's something that, you just started just to have fun type thing, and now you're sponsoring teams and they're winning ships in one of the biggest tournaments in the Northwest. Yeah,
I mean, so not taking anything away from the girls. However, I always said this is going to be that kings or queens with the asterisks on it, because of the COVID. Yeah. So, but who knows, man? Maybe next year, when all this COVID crap is going on, or hopefully it's not going on and it's off. But who knows? Hopefully, Lady Rhino Nation can give it a whirl and let's say back to back, but with no asterisks. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
That actually kind of leads into another question I have for you, but we'll kind of jump back to it here in a second. Yeah. But obviously, me kind of being, only in the softball around here for about 3 years or no, like, what's your prior Kings experience? Like, how many Kings tournaments have you actually been in to compare to this year?
Man, I have played in, this is my third Kings. Okay. I was luckily enough to be on a really, really good, solid D team, Arsenal. Yep. And that's the only team I really knew when I got out here. I made a post on Facebook, "Hey, I'm from Texas," and not say anything, not pumping up Texas, but when most of the time when someone from Texas comes out here, not all the time, but hopefully a good majority of the time, when someone's coming from Texas, they're decent enough to play, Yeah. And that's one of the things that Jesse Gaylord said. He's like, "Man, I just saw you're from Texas and you're looking for a team and you said third base." I said, "I need a person and I don't have a third baseman, so that's why I messaged you." And so, believe it or not, man, I'm a very loyal, like, I take pride on loyalty and stuff and respect. And Jesse Gaylord messaged me, the very first person, and I said yes. And I got like a couple of people say, hey, come try out here, come play with us, yada. But I say, hey, thank you, but I'm going to play with Arsenal. And then when I did say that, the people that did ask me, they say, holy cow, man, Arsenal's a good squad. You'll like them. And I played with them for about 2 years up until this past year.
Yeah, I think that was actually like one of the first times. I don't know if you remember it or not, but the Kings, not last year obviously because it got canceled, but the year before was my first Kings up at the Rack, and we played you guys like 3 times somehow. From the regular losers bracket to the consolation bracket, and so like I don't know. Somehow we played you guys like 2 or 3 times, and that was like the first time that was like the first real competition for me in Washington.
Yeah.
My very first like open tournament game was against Vandale Trucking, and then we played you guys.
Solid still.
It was just. It was a really
those are 2 tough teams, especially back then to come into Washington. Man, they're Vandale Trucking. They're still kicking strong, and they've always been a top C D team. And then us, we were always killing it in D. And I guess from when I first moved out here the year before, Arsenal took some lumps in C, but got bumped down back to D.
Yeah.
So to come and play Vandale and Arsenal, that's 2 tough teams you had to
as an
first encounter.
Just young kids, and we're just like, oh, we'll be all right. We can hit bombs, and then we play a team like that. We're like, oh,
yeah.
Run rule kick in.
We ran rule quite a few teams that are teams that year all year long, but I mean, we definitely took some L's ourselves, especially against all the B teams out here.
Oh yeah. So like piggybacking off that, obviously back then, you can kick it afterwards, go out to the parking lot, drink beer, kick it. You pretty much hang out with everyone for like 3 days straight,
Yeah.
Compare that to like this year, like.
Man, not in a bad way, but it's nothing compared to what Kings really is.
Yeah.
But that's not taking away from anything that Chris, Kelly, and Sam did.
Yeah.
Man, they did a fantastic job this weekend with what they could do with, and considering the circumstances. I didn't get to tune in to Bob Frappel's show yesterday. My bad, Bob, Tim Jones, because a lot of people don't know this, but my wife works evenings, so I try to stick and hang out with her as much as I can until she leaves to work at 8:00. And I listened to his show while I was at work today, and it kind of sucked that I heard him say something like, there's some guys that were refusing to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a not say curse words, but that's kind of shitty, it's bigger than you. Like, I don't want to wear a mask, but
exactly
the reason I wear a mask is for everybody else. You know what I mean? So I done got my 2 shots. You know what I'm saying? I got both of them. So like,
yeah,
I don't want to wear a mask, but I will, because I like the game of softball, and it's unfortunate that there's some knuckleheads and draggers that think they're better than everybody else. And I totally get it, man. If you don't want to wear a mask, then cool. But if the more power to them for dealing with it the way they did. But if I was somebody of importance in the USSSA world, I would have been like, listen, you want to wear a mask, you're not coming to my gate.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Luckily, they were fair and said, hey, I don't know what happened, but I know that teams still got to play. So
yeah.
And it's selfish that you won't wear a mask, but
yeah, there was a lot of teams though that I did see the brief time that we were allowed in the park. That like you did see teams kind of checking each other, like when they were walking around, kind of nudging each other, especially on their way out when they know there's people out there. But it's like my team. After every game, we huddle up and talk and stuff outside the dugout, and we're kind of. I don't know if you'd call most of us like blue collar, but we're not freaking out about the whole mask thing. But before we, would walk towards the gate after every game, we would make sure, when we're walking around the complex, that we would try our best to have it up,
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually forgot. I was like walking around, I'm like, oh crap, and I put my mask on, and I'm like, my bad. And and I probably went like 30 minutes without a mask, and I didn't do it intentionally. I just totally forgot.
Yeah.
I was just in the moment, really.
Especially when you're playing, it's like that's the last thing you're thinking about is like making sure you have your mask on. Then the game's over. If you're irritated, you're definitely not thinking about it and stuff.
Yeah. But in all, man, I think for the short amount of time we had where there's like 60 something teams, 46 teams in the men's side alone, like that just goes to show like the Pacific Northwest can actually make shit happen and come together in such a small time and notice that everyone wants to play ball and they've been hungry to play ball, and this is our first opportunity and chance, and I think it went as well as it could be, honestly, or well as it could have gone. But big shout out to USSSA and Chris, Kelly, and Sam for throwing the event. Dude, kudos to you guys. I don't want to do what you guys do, so big thanks for throwing the event, man.
Yeah, it's for what I had imagined driving down Friday and stuff like that, and thinking like, I remember, telling my girlfriend, like, it's probably going to fall behind. We're probably going to end up playing late into the night because, like, I don't know if they're going to make people wait in between games to go into the dugouts and do cleaning and stuff. Like, but oddly enough, I don't know if they set it up this way, but, like, all of Saturday we played on the same field. And I don't know if that's kind of how they had it broken down.
Yeah,
but,
it was good.
We played 4 games Saturday, and 3 of those games, minus the first game, we were the 8 a.m. game, but the other 3 games we all started early. Like, whether it was 10 minutes or 15 minutes, like, but it just showed it was like flowing and stuff. And that's not saying the Reds were walking out there just saying, all right, let's go. Like, we had time to warm up and stuff and stretch and do whatever we need to do. So, like, for what it was and what it could have been, like how strict it could have been, like, it was still ran super smooth, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we played 4 games, and all of them, I think, were on the same field except for Sunday morning. Yeah. So we played 3 on Mikan and then 1 on, I think, Bud.
Yeah, that's how we were. We were 4 on Glove, 1 on Bud.
That's perfect, in my opinion. They kept each team to the field. So, and then I think what they were trying to do as well is accommodate the people watching.
Yes.
Because like my wife and kids, they didn't have to move. What I mean? They sat in right field, and then when I wasn't playing, I walked out to them. And then, guess what? We're playing. Oh, hey, do we have to move? And you saw the like relief. Oh, we don't have to. Okay, cool. Like move all the chairs and all that stuff. So, like I said, they made it work well.
Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah, we
really
had the
well.
same thing. We had like the whole right center field on Glove taken up with our whole team's girlfriends and wives and families and all that. So it made it super easy. I remember going into Sunday, I told Malia, I was like, hey, if we win this first game, like, I'm sorry, but we played back-to-back nonstop. You're going to have to walk Addie by yourself to the complete other side of the park and then go another 2 fields over after that. Like, yeah. But unfortunately, we ran into a really good BDR team at a bad time, so she didn't have to worry about that.
there was some banging teams out there, man. Like, there were some teams that wowed me, and I was just like, wow. I don't get wowed easily in the game anymore because I've seen a lot of players and hits and stuff, and like shout out to TopLeft. They like in Texas, what would they call it? They put the big chile on our neck, boy. They hit it hard, boy. We ended up losing like 26-2 because bro, they stroked the ball first inning. There was nothing we could do, man. We didn't hit, and they hit well. Yeah, they hit way better. 10 times better than we did.
BDR got us the same way pretty much right after you guys walked off the field. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same.
Yeah, well, what comes around goes around was what I kept saying. And TopLeft allowed like 28 runs in the top of the first from lawn darts. So take that, TopLeft. Now you know how we feel. I didn't put 28 runs on us, okay, in the first inning. I was pitching, all right. But they put like probably 8 to 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Sunday was really weird, though. Just like the wind, it was really, really cold, I felt like, Sunday morning. Yeah. The wind was crazy. And then bringing it into, later in the day, working towards the ship and stuff, that rain. I remember my buddy who left right afterwards, he texted me. He was like, is it pissing rain down there or what? And I opened the hotel room window because we just got back from lunch. And I looked out and I was like, yeah, we ain't watching the ship.
Yeah, man. It was like a great day. It was a great day Saturday, like hot, nice, and then Sunday was just crap. Yeah. But, hey, I'll put it this way is we lost on purpose because we didn't want to be in the rain. I'll tell you, Dead End Boys, shout out Dead End Boys. We lost on purpose because we didn't want to be wet. You know what I'm saying? We don't play good in wet conditions. We would have won. We would have easily taken out Miller Time or Goodfellas or J&I, but, we didn't want to play in the. I just got new cleats. Like, we didn't want to get them dirty, so.
Yeah.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Looks like you're frozen on here for some reason.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I had to refresh.
Oh,
yeah, it said he's frozen. We got home before it started raining. White. Let's see.
All right, I'm going to transition over to just myself real quick, and then I'll see if I can fix it on the other screen while we keep talking real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of obviously just said something about it, but like, what teams really like surprised you? You said TopLeft already. What's some other teams that really you weren't expecting to see either go as far as they did, or kind of just even have the production that they did?
Nothing against pickup teams, but I never really expect a pickup team unless it's a conference pickup team to do well. But shout out to Sean Arts and CJ Goldman's pickup team. I think they went 4-2, taking 7th place, I think, overall. They beat us. We should have beat them. No excuses. But, they did the dang thing. They hit the ball hard, far. A lot of home runs. They had Paul Salas playing with them as well. They just did really, really well. So shout outs to the pickup team that I did not think was going to go far because I didn't know who was on the roster. Like, no disrespect to them. It's just 9 times out of 10, a pickup team is not going to do well unless it's a conference pickup team. So, Cody Staffing, like I said, I didn't get to see a lot of people play, believe it or not, because I try to leave the park when I could, and I kind of paid attention to my field. But Cody Staffing was on mic in. They beat a very strong Sticky Bandits team. And here I'm thinking, oh yeah, Sticky's got this because they're young and they can use their speed and their sticks. But Cody Staffing, man, like came out of nowhere and just banged with them. They hit for being apparently a bunch of old dudes. They hit the ball really, really well. Yeah. So, and Cody Staffing was surprising a lot of people.
I mean, that's a Sticky Bandits team that, in some of those posts that were put out, is people had placing really high too. I have nothing but respect for all those Sticky boys. I love them to death. But they were picked to go pretty high in the tournament too. So,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought they'd be picked pretty high from the D side of the house, but Outlaws. I don't know anything about the Outlaws other than Seihan Lee, my former teammate. Yeah, my former teammate from Arsenal. I heard they did really, really well. I didn't get to see them play, but like an inning and a half. But they surprised a lot of people and came out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was good, like, to see that, and I like to be proven wrong. So a lot of people don't know this, but when there's a conference event, I treat it like March Madness, like my own March Madness. Yeah. So I fill out my own bracket in my head up until I can. Obviously, I don't really follow down to the losers bracket, like, no disrespect, but I just can't keep up with all of it. Well, yeah, so, because, but in the winners bracket, I usually do a bracket, and I was pretty spot on, and I was really, really off on our bracket out here. So nothing bad. It's just
you were on the actual
on the conference bracket. Yeah, the conference schedule, because I followed this weekend. I was on pretty well. I only had missed 2 games, believe it or not, and they were upsets. So, I mean, I like watching the upsets myself, so I wasn't mad about it. It's just, it's my own little friendly competition myself. But, I didn't know teams right here, and I made my own little head bracket here, and I was way off, man. Yeah. But it's good. It's good to see that. So, a big surprise to me is Lawrence Contracting going into the consolation. Like, I know they bang well, and they hit the ball hard. I thought they're, going to be the top 1, 2, or 3 in the D, out of the D guys, in my opinion. And I don't know what happened. I guess they got walked off against one team and then walked off again or something like that. But it just goes to show, like, it's early in the year, of course, and no telling what happens. But LC going down to the consolation, I would have put money that they didn't even go close to the consolation bracket.
Yeah, I agree. When I ran into Mitch, and I was like, "How y'all doing?" He kind of just shook his head, and I was like, "What do you mean? Why are you shaking your head?" He was like, "We
Yeah.
just got." I don't remember the exact conversation because we had just got beat by Skangers.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. He was. They weren't very happy about it, but they were being LC, and we walked out, and they were all bullshitting with us and stuff, and being cool. So
Yeah, that's the cool thing about LC is if they're losing, they're still gonna have a good time.
yeah, one way or another.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they did well as far as in the parking lot, hanging out, doing their thing.
Yeah. So for some reason, I'm really this. It won't pull your video back up, but your audio is still there.
Okay, yeah, no worries, man. I'm ugly as hell, anyways. I probably just want
to run it.
Yeah.
But another team. Let's see. Let me pull. Actually, what about Proactive? What do you think of Proactive Homes?
Dude, I didn't even get to see them at all. Yeah. But I know the people on their team.
Yeah.
So I actually looked at the the roster, and I was like, okay, it looks like a lot of Jay's Big Boom.
Yeah.
From a year back, Yeah. But no, not Jay's Big. Yeah, Jay's Big Boom. Yeah. But I didn't even know like Chris Spence was on their team. I didn't know if he was there at all. And it's a bunch of the Van Dil guys that you played against.
Yeah. And then they got their roster shows like Roki and stuff like that too.
Yeah, Eric Tenorio. Those two are, I mean, nasty infielders. So they're gonna be bringing any team's infield, I guess way up in my opinion. They're two solid gloves, two ball players. So like Proactive, I heard did really really well, and I think they barely lost. I'm looking at the bracket. Yeah, they barely lost to Miller Time.
Yeah.
22-2 or 22-20.
Yeah, and then unfortunately they fell down into the losers bracket to face Lawn Darts right when Lawn Darts was just really getting going.
Ripping on people.
They went 32. Lawn Darts. 32-3 against Inner Beast, 34-0 against TopLeft, 33-18 against Proactive, who's got strokers. And then they ended up getting beat by Skangers, but yeah, that's what sucked about Sunday is like I took the girlfriend back to the field. I was like, I'm gonna go live and walk along outside the complex and play the semifinal games and stuff and see what's up. And I literally went out and I'm watching the Miller Time Oregon Elite game, and I'm leaned up against one of the trees, and I can feel the tree like shaking. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back in the Jeep and watch the rest of this game. And then got back and it started pouring rain. So
yeah, it was kind of bipolar weather compared to Saturday, but
Saturday was beautiful, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. And couldn't ask for a better day in my opinion. But yeah, shout out to Proactive. They did well. Looking at the I don't even know the results, but I know that it got rained out. But they got Jay and I first, Oregon Elite second, and then Miller Time third. I think they did it the right way. Most of the time they do coin flip, but in my opinion, the undefeated team deserves first. That's how I see it.
Well, and then Oregon Elite beat Miller Time, and they would have played each other in the losers bracket final. So
it was right. Yeah, it was right. I think the highest placed D team is Outlaws, okay, and then I don't even know who Calcutta Real Estate was, but they went 5-2. So I mean, it was good, man. It was a good change of pace for a lot of teams.
That was said to me over Facebook this weekend that at first I didn't really think about it, and then like on my drive home when I'm kind of like recapping the weekend myself, I actually started thinking about, and like I said, this is only my second real full year of the Kings of the Northwest experience, start to finish stuff, but someone put on Facebook like this was a true kind of like Kings of the Northwest. This wasn't like someone putting together a conference style team in here and trying to come in and win a tournament or.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I know if I get nuts over from Hawaii and stuff, which I personally don't have a problem with because I don't play on a team that has a chance to win it usually. So
yeah, yeah.
But
That's cool. I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, Kings of the Northwest, because all it was Northwest teams. So there wasn't, Alaska wasn't here when they brought S2S Ravens one year. Dale Brungarn and Flood didn't have a conference team, and I guess if, we got to look at things in a positive, and this really was a true Kings of the Northwest.
Yeah.
So shout outs to Kings of the Northwest. The real one with the asterisks. That's going to be the real Kings of the Northwest.
But then also I want to, go to the single limb bracket and give Chiefs a little shout out for doing work down there. Lawrence did some work down in that bracket as well. And then
did they get rained out too?
So I'm just looking at the bracket here. It looks like they got rained out right at the championship.
Fatal over Blitzkrieg.
I'm sorry.
Wemmer's team, isn't it? Jacob Wemmer's team was Blitzkrieg.
Yeah. So it looks like the Fatal and Blitzkrieg, they coin toss, and LC and Chiefs, they coin toss, and then Fatal and Chiefs coin toss. That's what it looks like to me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so shout out to...
That's a Fatal, okay, for those we've lost.
Yeah, so some very, very local teams here. Shout out to them. But yeah. So, so last question I kind of have related to Kings, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the one time I played it was at the rack. My understanding is usually played at the rack, correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, usually at the rack. So every now and then you'll have, I think they use like a little site, a side site, every now and then, but
the small,
for the most part,
the other fields in Lacey. Yeah. So with that being said, like what did you think about having to travel down to Oregon this year? Obviously, we couldn't do it in Washington because of the COVID, but
I personally don't like to travel too far myself when I have to drive. I don't mind flying, that's cool, but no, it was good because with all the COVID, crap going on, I haven't really, you see me on Facebook traveling quite often, but a lot of people don't realize like I'm traveling without my family, So this was, believe it or not, and not in a bad way, but we looked forward to this weekend outside of softball, if that makes sense. Like softball just happened to be a plus. And that's nothing against, my competitiveness for the game. It's just, it was my first time, when my wife was off even. My wife was active duty in the Navy. So like, it was like, hey, babe, we're going to go to Portland next weekend. Oh, I don't have nothing. Like, really? Okay, cool. So like, I'm a competitor. So I played my, as best I could. And, we got to experience and hang out in the hotel. My kids love hotels. Like they like to go swimming. Of course, the swimming pool wasn't open, but we saw, downtown Portland. How war zoned out it looked, kind of.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it was good to get out. It was good to see a lot of the familiar faces that I have not seen in a while, dude. Like, these guys live in my state and play softball with me, and I haven't seen them in dang near almost 2 years, like a year and some change, and, like, they live hours away from me. So, like, I got to see a lot of familiar faces. I hadn't seen, Kelly Romano. I hadn't seen him in forever, Like, it's good to see a bunch of people. And then travel-wise, I'm always traveling because even when I go to the rack, it's an hour and 25 minutes for me. Yeah. But it was a great opportunity for my family to just have something different, man. Get out of the house and stay in a hotel and travel, see the road, and go eat some bomb-ass stuffed salmon there on that little island that I stayed at over there by Oxford Suites. Like, it was great, man. It was just a good time. Yeah. So I enjoyed it.
We had the same outlook on it, too. We actually even took I took Friday off. Malia took Friday off.
Same. I took Friday off from work.
So we traveled down. Jacob Crawford, he lives in Rochester. We traveled down and stayed with him and his wife Thursday night, and then did a nice little day trip on Friday. Went to Centralia, had a bomb breakfast, outlet malls, nice easy trip.
Nice. Nike Factory Store. I hit that up too.
Yeah.
So.
They never got anything in my size because I wear the most common size, but
10.5 was for me, so that's what I am. So, I mean, it was a great time, and so like, if not for Kelly, Chris, and Sam doing what they did, I wouldn't have had nothing to do this weekend. So, Yeah, was it spending money at a hotel? But I'd gladly spend money at a hotel to get away from
Yeah.
the real world and be with my family. So
Yeah. 100% agree with you there. So yeah, I would call this weekend a success. Like,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
people you haven't seen, I haven't played really any of the, like, quote unquote underground. I haven't
Same. I played the
traveled
very
at
first one. That
all.
was it.
I think I played the second or third one, and that was it. Like, I literally haven't played since the last WSL tournament there was in September.
God.
So yeah, it was super cool just to get out and see everyone. Everyone's like, "Oh, I thought you retired." I'm like, "Shut up!" I almost did. Shut up.
Right.
But no,
Yeah.
it was a good time.
Believe it or not, dude, I had everyone said, "Oh, Rhino, you got bats for days," and it's like I traded a lot of bats for some Jays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But dude, I had to make some crack deals just to get some bats to play with, man, because I was like, dude, so I traded one of my OG bats that I told myself I would never get rid of, and just so I could get two Easton, so I could have something to swing just in case one broke, man. So
Yeah.
that just goes to show, like, I was that pumped up about this weekend. So
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got on Kings, unless there's something that you want to add
no,
into it.
just quick recap was like, everybody, I think, conducted themselves in a professional manner. They played well, showed out. For the most, part, the 99% of you did coincide with, having your mask on. So shout outs to you. For the ones who didn't, you grow up. Yeah, it was a great time. Directors ran it well, and
Yeah.
all I can say is thank you to those three for making it happen. Shout out to the umpires too for
Yeah.
being out there and putting themselves through long days and umpiring in the games.
Yeah. All right, so the next thing I got on the list here for us tonight is just upcoming local events. The U-Trip put out a schedule, last week or 2 weeks ago. WSLs I wasn't able to find online. I don't know if it's on their Facebook page or not, but I know they have a couple events coming up as well in May.
Right.
I think it's the earliest one. But
I haven't even seen a schedule, to be honest with you, but I'll find one.
yeah, they actually got one this weekend. They're doing
Oh, really?
a Bad Bunny Easter special up at Celebration.
Oh.
So.
Oh, yeah. I know that there's one on the 10th, April 10th coming up too. Dead End Boys are going to be in it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be there.
That's the paid birth one, correct?
I believe so. The Easter one, though, I didn't know about that one. I think my wife works Saturday, so if anybody needs a fat pitcher or fat catcher.
The third.
Oh, Sunday?
The third. No, the third Saturday. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they got, let's see, there's Chiefs, Kings Drywall, Los Chubbies, Mambas, Skagit Speedway.
Is it strictly E?
E-Rec.
Oh, man.
Williams,
Well, my name
Concrete,
is. I could change my name to Gessie Jarsis.
Yeah.
I'll play E. Well then, hey, more power to the E-Rec guys getting to play some more events. Take advantage of it if you can.
Yeah. And then, like you said, on the 10th, there's the paid birth, which is a D, E, and rec as well.
There you go.
No one's even entered into that one yet. I think that's the one everyone's been posting about, though, and they're like, how come no one's entered into this yet?
Hey, man, people, it's a mind game, fellas. Like, listen, if Dead End Boys gets in it, ain't nobody else going to want to get in it. You know what I mean? So we're gonna register late,
What else is here? The other paid state is the 17th. That's the weekend. A lot of us D guys, a couple of E teams heading over to Idaho, I think.
I wish. I know Dead End Boys would be there. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make that. It's opening. It's opening day for my kids' baseball. So,
nice.
Yeah, I try to be there especially for opening day.
Yeah. Speaking of opening day, Thursday, opening day, go Mariners.
Dude, I'm kind of hurt because it's what, in 2 days, Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Man, I thought my wife even said get tickets if I wanted to go by myself, but
have you seen the ticket prices?
Listen. I'm not saying I made money, okay, but money is temporary, okay? History and the moments and is forever, okay?
Yeah,
No, I've seen them. I'm not going. There's no way.
I've been
But
to enough
anyway,
opening days where I'm not gonna spend that much money. Where I've
I went
paid
to.
as much as one ticket is. I've paid for 4 people for opening
Oh,
day and had good seats.
yeah, I mean, hey, listen, supply and demand, man. They got to make their money back somehow, some way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to opening day last year when they played the Red Sox. And it was the very first game in T-Mobile Park.
Yeah.
Edgar Martinez threw out the first pitch. I was there, rocking my Texas Rangers gear. The Rangers weren't even playing, but that's me. I'm that guy.
Yeah. Kelly
So Kelly said, "Oh yeah,
Oh, there you go.
It was June 5th and 6th at Brush Prairie for E&D and Sarah for the Rec."
Bat Wars is a fun tournament.
I don't think I've played in a Bat Wars.
I've only played in one, and it was probably the gnarliest tournament of my life.
Well, there's a reason why. Because last year it was Rec E&D, and I was playing C-ball, strictly C-ball last year. So I unfortunately have not been able to play at Bat Wars. I attended it. I actually sold Krispy Kremes. Shout out
you had a little
Kelly
tent
Romano.
set up.
Yeah. Shout out to Kelly for allowing my wife and I to set up Krispy Kremes for her Navy fundraiser. We raised quite a bit of money for her ball, so it was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I played in the one they had up at Pendergrass.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah,
There was a double dip going on that I was a part of.
talking shit to each other in the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
man. Y'all
hit me up. You need to
get
download that video and send it. I was like, look, dude, I ain't got none. If they want to see it, it's right there.
Yeah, y'all were getting rowdy. That one, I remember that one.
I'm a good citizen.
Wesley Summers, dude. Shout out to Wesley Summers. I saw him in Louisiana 2 weekends ago at the Trip Roth. It was good to see. He was close to me out here, and then I got to see him in Louisiana.
Yeah,
and
P. Rise, he says.
He won
that one.
And I told him to shoot middle on Nino because they played Juno the very first game, and he definitely hit at Nino, but you could definitely tell it was a miss, but it went. And he hit it like a little dribbler, but you know what? I counted it as going middle on Nino. So shout out to Wesley for going middle on Nino.
Yeah, there was everything in that Bat Wars. I think that I don't know. Obviously, I haven't been around that long, but I think that was the first big Bat Wars around here. I'm not 100%. I could be wrong, but
it definitely was electrifying. I think I was. Was I there during that whole scuffle? Y'all were Stay Solid with y'all had Chad Turner.
We were Rise above the fall. It was like me, Doug, Jordan Eichert, Nelly, Wesley,
a stacked team. Y'all were a stacked team.
Noel. I mean, there was a lot of us on there, and then there was a roster check to get into this shit. I'm telling you, dude, that was the craziest tournament I've ever been a part of. It
was an eventful weekend, man.
And then that was a tournament that I actually got hit up by Stay Solid to come play for them. And then we went down to border battles, and Checo's like talking to everyone, and he just looks at me. He's like, "Fuck you." I was like, "Whatever, Checo, I love you."
Yeah, I mean, shit happens. Whatever, you got to just do what you want.
It is now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cam Ferguson during the handshake.
Yeah.
Man, all I know is Kelly Romano throws some electrifying events here at Pendergast. We cannot wait for Pendergast to open up soon. All right, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
If you want some more of that action, come in with us in North Kitsap. I will gladly miss a tournament to stay and watch at that tournament if I can't play in it. So I'm there, Kelly. Count me in.
Well, it sounds like I might need to make a trip down to where was it at? Brush Prairie this year.
Oh yeah,
Brush Prairie, yep, June 5th and 6th.
And I hate saying this, but I don't know if I've even played there before. Like, not in a bad way. Just confused, like fields. I know the rap celebration, and
yeah, I was supposed to go down a couple times, and for whatever reason, I think one was like a rain out, I want to say, I'm not 100% sure, and then team bailed last second. I was
So
supposed to pick up with somebody.
he's wrestling where Frapples tries
Yes.
to do his stuff, that
Yeah,
right?
him and
Is that
Brian and
south or
all them.
north?
Huh?
Is that south? That's south,
I'm
isn't it?
pretty
Like
sure it's south, yeah.
closer to Vancouver than north.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I've never been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I've never been there, but
I've seen
I feel like
thousands of pictures of the place, but I've never been there once in my life.
yeah, I hear a lot of good things about Brush Prairie.
I might have to hit them up and see if I can get a little cornhole tournament going on down there for the southern folks.
You know, and a lot of people like I love the small town tournaments, like I said,
Yes.
with that atmosphere. So if they allow you to throw a cornhole tournament that allows the people to enjoy the event that much more, and then I you know, if I was the guy running it, I'd say do it because
Yeah.
it brings the teams together. Kind of like that one that I know Kelly and all them talk about. Shit, is it Strawberry Festival or something like that? Or where's the one where they go camping? Like people like I think it's an E tournament, but they go camping out there and they do like dizzy bat race and flip cup and
I thought that was
beer pong.
backwoods.
No, that's not backwoods. I don't know what tournament it is, but they actually play beer pong, and then like the winners of the beer pong
Yeah.
get like points towards standings.
So it's like a drinking Olympics.
Yeah, but softball too. So like,
I'm in.
you know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm bringing a team to drink rather than play softball, and hopefully my drinking team can carry my softball team in points. You know what I mean?
Do
So
like a round robin softball style, but then have like
Kelly said
drinking
Brush,
games
yeah.
too.
But like, is that the one that like people are camping out there, like in the woods and stuff? So like they do cornhole, they do beer pong, they do flip cup. Shit, I wouldn't surprise me if they didn't do like a potato sack race or something like that.
Oh, it's the Miller Time fundraiser. That's what it is.
That's cool, man.
remember that.
I know that like because at the time like I'm not saying I'm cool to play C, but I was playing C with Arsenal, so I didn't get to enjoy kind of like all that stuff that people did, and so like I think it was strictly E though. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, but I thought it was just strictly like an E tournament, kind of like Moses Lake out there. It's a nothing but an E tournament, and like last year I went with the Browers guys, and all I did was camp out and drink and party with them because I couldn't play in it, but we had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, with everything changing with the COVID, kind of seemingly starting to seem like it's opening up a little bit more. We'll get to experience some more of that here soon.
Yeah, see, Wesley said keg throwing at 3 a.m. was happening too. Like, yes.
Down, dude.
Like, let's get back into
I'm about
stuff,
to
you know?
start a pickup team for that right now, just for whenever it gets posted again.
Shit. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm in for sure, but let's throw the possibility of me being on that team, okay? I will manage if I have to, you know?
All right, sounds good. All right, so back to the U-Trip schedule.
Yeah. Sorry.
Women's U-Trip state at the end of the month, along with the men's D and rec.
Rhino Nation will be there. Lady Rhino Nation, I heard in the chat today, said they're making a big push for that one.
And then that's pretty much it for April. And then May, there is UCLA going to the Final Four as the 11th seed. Let's go.
There is men's D. All right, Kelly. Well, you know, we should work at dropping my tag. That'd be great. Got to get Steven down here for Trip 2022. It's wild, man. It's crazy. The Trip was just a different environment, man. Different atmosphere. Like, yeah, you have all these big time players out there, but the environment, the atmosphere, like there's a DJ like playing, like say the tournament is going on, right? He is playing music every single song for like 98% of the entire tournament. I think he stops like 2 a.m. But it's wild. But yeah, some music, a lot of people dancing. Of course, alcohol is flowing. There's a bar on the second floor.
See, we need to do something like that. We need to get someone to do something like that around here.
There's no shit, a bar, like a real bar. There's bartenders in there. You know, drinks are pouring. Like it's wild. Richie Soley does a great job running that tournament, and he throws an awesome tournament. And like I said, I mean, it might be too early now to confirm. It's probably 345 days from now. But guess what? Rhino Nation will be at Trip Raw 2022. Already been confirmed. You heard it here first on Top Left Sports Show.
What would be cool is to get. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's an ASA tournament, but up in Fairbanks they do a Midnight Sun tournament, and it's during the summer solstice or whatever, the longest day of the year, like that time frame. It starts at the first game is at 11 o'clock at night, and it still looks like it's noon outside.
Jesus.
You start at 11 o'clock at night on Friday, and you play nonstop. Well, obviously you have.
Is it sunny the entire time?
It's sunny the entire. You think it's noon the entire time. Hell. It's so fun though. I mean, we made it pretty far. The 1 year I played in it, we got done at Sunday at I think 10 or something. I went home, fell asleep by 12:30, and I didn't wake up until Monday morning for PT. Didn't wake up to eat dinner, didn't do nothing. But it was fun,
I don't know.
dude.
I don't know about that. I mean, it does sound like fun, but I'm already feeling my body hurting on Monday, and I ain't even been there.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's a cool experience, though.
And I'd love to do something like that just because it's Alaska. I've never been to Alaska other than a layover.
Yeah.
But I'd be down for something like that.
It's really cool. And then, so getting into May, they got Pink Out the Park, which also
that's always a good one. Pink Out the Park's always good. I played in two of them, I think, or two or three.
I think I'm gonna be in it this year.
The beauty of it is a lot of teams actually do try and rock pink jerseys. I know Arsenal did. We made a special jersey just for that tournament. Yeah. Pink with our A on our chest, but it's cool because we're obviously trying to pink out the park. So yeah. It's a pretty cool event. That's the one that's like a must go to if you're in the Northwest.
Yeah. Like I said, unfortunately I haven't been able to go before, but I'm gonna try and make a push one way or another to get there this year and watch that, or play in it and watch it. But another tournament coming up at the end of May is personally my favorite, obviously local tournament of the year, but Border Battle, dude.
Dude, Border Battles is a great one, man. Yeah, Border Battles is dope because it's there in Kent, or not Kent, but at Portland again.
Delta, yeah.
And hopefully seeing what I could do, seeing the environment now. All I got to do is just bring me a tent and park it up on the highway, bro, and I got a spot to stay. Yeah. I know that much. I tell you that. No, in all seriousness, though, was it Border Battles 2 years ago? I didn't really know Kelly Romano that well and Chris. They just knew that I was in the area in Bremerton, and I went up there, and they accepted me right from the get-go, like, hey, you're that Rhino guy, right? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you don't mind if I hang out here? And because I went up there a day early with the girls. With a couple of girls that were I think it was Carla Halverson and Jen. I don't remember Brandon and Jen. They had the hard, long last name, but I drove down with them on a Friday, and my wife was going to meet me there after work. And so I hung out with Kelly and them at their RV when RVs were allowed there. Yeah. And it was my very first time in Portland. It was a great time, and I'll never forget that because it was just a fun time. So Border Battles is a great one. Arsenal, I think we won the Border Battles, my very first Border Battles as a D team. We won that one.
Nice. It's also a women's majors this year. It's one of the conference stops for the women's team. Yep.
Wow. I think I have their I have their schedule right here.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Women's major.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be cool to watch.
There it is, May 29th and 30th, Border Battle, Portland, Oregon. Dude, some of those girls can bang, dude. Some of them hit the ball hard. Obviously, people know, if anybody follows, Fiona Fanal, Megan, Botzel, one of my favorite people. They hit the ball like ridiculous. It's insane because you don't think a lefty, because she's like a fast pitch player, so you don't think a fast pitch player can elevate it the way she does, and she just lifts it, dude. Lifts it. She gets in the home run derby too, so
they also got, and I want you to listen very clearly here, they got the military division
I heard.
year.
Oh yeah, see, yeah. So Border Battles, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that they did like a it's been a while, of course, but I think they do a military Friday night.
Yeah, so military actually starts Friday morning ish. Last
Yeah.
last year they had it, there was only I think like 6 teams in it.
Yeah.
So it started
Before the
at
fall
like
and
10.
came. Yeah.
Yeah, so they start Friday, and then once that tournament's over, it's directly into like the DE, the regular tournament style.
Yeah. Dude, that's always a good time. Anytime you can incorporate the military into an event like that, it's cool. So I think For the Fallen was out here that one year. Manic USA was out here from Bremerton. I don't know who won it, but they had like JTF was out here. Some highly like sought after teams to be on were out here.
Yeah,
so
we
that's pretty cool.
These DD214s together and put a team into that.
Shoot, the beauty of mine is I'm a DD214. I am a spouse. And I am a government worker. I have all three of the. So actually, so when I do play military A, they use my spouse because it's unlimited spouses.
Yeah.
So, and it saves a DD214 for somebody else. That's actually really good and not me. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all. As far as I know, that's some of the bigger tournaments coming up in the Northwest. Obviously, Idaho, the week of the 16th, the Friday the 16th.
Yeah, that's gonna be wild.
Cash grab or whatever they're calling it over there.
10K.
That's gonna be fun. I'm heading over there with the Dead End boys.
What I found out was, I mean, I don't even know if I'm supposed to discuss this kind of stuff, but I think it's kind of interesting.
You can do whatever you want on this show.
One Nation is actually throwing that event.
Yeah.
And come to find out, it was actually a USSSA started it off, was going to start the tournament, and then One Nation, they didn't take over. What happened is there was like a little change in command type thing, and then it stuck to One Nation, which is what I think is actually kind of cool in a sense of like, hey, sticking to your word kind of deal. And it just shows like they're trying to grow the game. They're not just worrying about themselves. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anytime that you can grow the game instead of hate on each other and try to, pick sides, it's always a plus. So
yeah, well, there is some drama going on right now with
I've seen that.
I keep my opinions to myself on
and it's kind of crazy because I've never I do the same way, and it's not that I care what people think because I really don't, but I just don't want to piss anybody off. But at the same time, like if I think if we all have the common goal is to grow the game, then little shit would run a whole lot smoother. Yeah. But hey, USSSA is hands down. They've been killing it, and they're going to continue to kill it. So like, I personally like USSSA because it's all I've known, and I kind of like grew up into it, so I kind of stick that way.
Well, I feel like UTRIP also bringing the Challenge Cup in like 3 years back was like a big momentum thing from them because it kind of brought the guys who there's plenty of people out there that aren't a fan of UTRIP, but it made them like, okay, UTRIP's trying to do this and incorporate us, represent your state, your region, or whatever it may be, and stuff like that.
And realistically, UAAA started, but you can't really call the Challenge Cup without mentioning Stroh. You know what I mean?
100%.
He I guess envisioned it, and if not for Stroh, there probably never would have been a Challenge Cup. And it's kind of cool to say that because I actually got to go to the very first Challenge Cup and announce the PA and talk, and use my so-called tri-radio voice, like, up next to bat, Orlando Castillo, and it was cool, but I got to see the Challenge Cup live in flesh, and just the amount of people from Washington in the top left area, Northwest alone was just second to none, dude. It was wild. I saw purple jerseys everywhere.
Yeah, I remember when they took the picture of like the
and I wasn't even in that. You know that the kids
like women's EDC, like it was the open teams, and it took like the whole
section,
not the stadium, but the whole section. It was crazy.
But I wasn't even in the picture. I probably was in the booth still.
Yeah.
But it's all good. I remember. Yeah, I had a great time out there. It was awesome. A once in a lifetime experience. And then to be kind of like saying I was at the first of something, is always, like I said, opening day. I want to go opening day. It's, kind of like that. So I was at the very first Challenge Cup. And the cool thing is USSSA actually did like a Facebook post. And they said, hey, who would, if you had people announcing, who would you want out there? And a lot of people shouted out Rhino. And I was forever thankful for that. So like, the people kind of helped me get to that point, along with Tim Jones, Bob Frapples. Him and I shared a hotel, and we got to be out there and talk all day long, all weekend long.
Yeah. I feel like it's hard with everybody involved with like softball, especially in like the Northwest. Like there's so many reps and so many like tournament directors and just so many great people. But it's like when you think of like, not like the face of softball, but like biggest people who push it and like supporting and stuff like that, like your name's definitely got to be top. I'd say at least 3, along with Fraps and stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
in the region, like anyone says, "Oh, Rhino," like everyone knows who you're talking about and stuff like that, and follow your page and see your updates, watch your videos on YouTube and shit like that.
Yeah, man.
So.
I appreciate that. I mean, I try. Kind of like you doing your show here. It's this is the very first time I've ever been a guest on any show, so it's kind of like a first for me. It's kind of exciting, But I when I first moved out here back in November 17, I really didn't know anybody, and I kind of used this as my way of getting in. And I was like, hey, and I'll never forget Logan Bizon, aka team at the time I think he was playing with. I just said, hey, who would be down if I talked softball from the nation, on a weekly basis? And Logan Bizon said, do it, dude. So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. And so like I started with my cell phone, man. Like I had a cell phone in front of me. It looked rough, like
I know the feeling.
and it started from 2 people to 4 people, and luckily for me, I was already in the rep game for about 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I had an established following for the most part, as far as like my bats and stuff and gear, and so it kind of carried over. And sure enough, man, like I'm a video game nerd. You know what I mean? So like Twitch, I'm gonna learn how to do that. And so I got me a computer. I already had a computer because I used to stream. And sure enough, I just made my overlays, did OBS, learned it, and I've been using OBS since like 2014, man. So like, I remember we were talking before I started, and I remember those days where it was now I can pretty do it, pretty quick, but it takes time. But you're doing a great job, man. Just keep it up. But like it was just something different. And then now, like I know I haven't done a show in probably like a week and a half to 2 weeks, but just time, man. Like I'm a big family dude, and I know it don't look that way on Facebook sometimes because I'm in a different city or different state, but like my wife works, she leaves to work at 8, so I try not to be on anything other than hang out with my wife and kids until 8 o'clock, and then it's video game time. But it's just something, and I'll do a show here and there, and luckily people like still support the Rhino Nation, and I can, accumulate a good amount of followers and people to watch and ask questions, and it's just a constant grind, dude. So like, I remember your first show, it was tough, it was rough, you know what I mean? And it was like, hey, and I not in a bad way, but it's 10 times better than what it was, you know what I mean? And like, you got your logo, and the thing is, like, any advice that I can give to you, it's more like, just do it for yourself. Like, just remember where you started and where you're at now, and it's like, you might not see. It's almost like when you're like for instance, you're trying to lose weight, right? And you don't really see the pounds coming off until you take a picture like 6 months from now, and it's like, oh wow, look at that! I'm skinny now, or it's kind of like that. You might not see it from a get go, but I can tell. It looks way different from what you had. So like, keep it up, man. Like if people can keep doing it, we all grow the game, and for luckily for you, it's sports in general. It's not just softball, so that's kind of cool. Like I don't want to stick to one location because I want to branch off into the nation, but for you, it's TopLeft. You never know, who knows, TopLeft could come out to West Coast, or who knows. So just keep it up, man. You're doing a great job.
And shout out to my buddy Bradley, who kind of just came on one night to help me out and then was just all in afterwards. And unfortunately, he has some family situation stuff going on right now, so he's been out for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But he's helped out tremendously. He shares the page probably more than I ever did and stuff like that. But yeah, he's great, and I'm excited to get him back hopefully next week. But yeah,
I think that was when I watched I think a show ago, like it was a show before this one or 2 shows ago, and y'all had some good topics, and y'all were like, it looked like y'all were going back and forth, and it looked like y'all both were articulating, and y'all worked well together, so it looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other since 6th grade, so.
Oh, so yeah, so you know what I mean. It's always
so it's easy to vibe and easy to get mad at each other and whatever the case may be. But yeah, also I gotta tip my hat to you. Anytime I've had a question for anything, you've been right there. You've hooked it up with hats and
yeah, man,
everything.
I know it's a bummer that you don't got the video up. I had my hat right here. I was gonna say, hey man, thanks for the hat.
I keep trying to. I don't know if you hear me clicking, but I keep trying to get it to work, and it's still.
It's probably on my end, anyways, dude. So no, but yeah, man, I just want to help out as best I can, and I've known you for a while, and then being the military guy, I've always tried to help and advocate for the military side of the house. So if it, anytime, and if I don't get back to you, I will eventually.
Yeah,
just
I know.
I leave you on bold, and now I know I got to go back to that message.
I got you. I feel it. I'm the same way. There's, like I said, there was like probably 3 months, probably 2 months I didn't do a show or anything. I was just sharing stuff. I just needed a break and just hang out with the family for a little bit. But
you just gotta do what's best for you. Sometimes it can get overwhelming. Sometimes you might just think it's like and here's the best advice I can give for the show is there's times where I don't want to do the show. Like I'm like, man, I just don't want to do it. And my wife's like, fool, you better get on it. And then I've had like the most amount of people ever that day. Like I didn't have anything planned. I was just like didn't want to do it. And then lo and behold, I had like 380 people on my live show. And I'm like, what? Why? And
it motivates you.
It does, and like I said, I've seen like 45 in here, and that's just exciting because I know when you're first starting off, it's tough sometimes, and it might be discouraging. But dude, it's for you. You can look back on this and be like,
exactly,
I did that or something like that. So, and I tell a lot of people the same thing is about remembering your name. My favorite. I'll try to end with this. Brad Pitt in the movie Achilles. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but this is one of my I tell this story all the time. In the movie Achilles, there's a big battle about to go down, right? And the guy says, "Hey, we can stop the bloodshed, and your men can go home to their wives and their kids tonight. Your best man versus my best man." And the guy said, "Okay." So the other team, whatever, they bring out this huge guy, and then the main character says, "Achilles," and he's yelling for Brad Pitt. I don't know if you've ever seen the clip, and Brad Pitt's nowhere to be found. And they're like, what? And the guy's like, Achilles, calling for him. And he's nowhere to be found. And they switch to Brad Pitt, who's in his little tent with 2 women and half asleep. And they have this little kid ride back on a horse to go wake him up. And he says, my lord, yada, yada, the king has requested you to fight. He goes, he's not my king. But that guy, Brad Pitt, just wants to be a badass. Anyways, he goes, my lord, the guy you're supposed to fight, he's big. I wouldn't want to fight him. And then Brad Pitt says the very next line, that's why no one will remember your name. And I'm like, boom, what? That's what I'm talking about. Because, Rhino Nation's a funny thing, and it's just something, but it's crazy and surreal. Like, for instance, this weekend, you see your logo on a couple of, champions this weekend, and it just grows, and maybe sometime or later on down the road in a few months there might be a TopLeft, sponsored by TopLeft Sports, or you know what I mean. But in time, man, don't rush and just keep doing what you're doing and have fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's this was, I guess, a learning experience for me tonight, just as well, I guess, as you two. You said it's your first time, guest
I've been a guest.
Someone. This is my first time hosting someone who's not in my garage with me. So obviously we had some technical difficulties, but it still worked out, I think. So Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I hope we can do this again after another big tournament or something, or whatever the
Love
case
to.
may be.
Sure.
So
102%.
yeah, all right, everybody. Well, I think we're gonna wrap this up. We solid hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, thank you guys for the support. I definitely feel it, especially with the hats. All weekend I got blown up by people asking for hats right after they were all gone. So I'm gonna talk to Rhino and we're gonna get another order going. And then
Sure.
yeah, there's more stuff in the making. So until then, stay tuned, stay safe, and all that stuff. Cheers.